All right, so are you ready to go deep on this one?
Always am.
Okay, good. Because today we're going to be talking about Stephen King's Holly.
Oh, very nice.
And I have to say, just looking at these excerpts you sent in, I think this is going to be a good one.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So we're looking at, those hidden connections between characters and events.
Yeah.
Which is something King always does really well.
He does.
But this time he set this thriller against this post-COVID backdrop.
Right.
Which I think adds a whole other level of kind of unsettling creepiness.
Yeah, he really has a way of taking something that's familiar, right, and sort of warping it into something unsettling. And this idea of using the pandemic as a backdrop kind of taps into all those, those anxieties that we all have, those hidden dangers that might be, lurking below the surface of what we consider normal.
Exactly. And it's like he's saying, okay, even when the world is facing this, this collective crisis, there's still this undercurrent of unease, like this sense that things might not be what they seem.
Right.
Which brings us to our protagonist.
Yep.
Holly Gibney.
Good old Holly Gibney.
Yes. For those listening in, she's no stranger to the King universe.
Right.
We've seen her evolve from this anxious, rule follower to this really remarkable investigator.
Oh, absolutely.
And in Holly, she's facing, you could say, one of her toughest cases yet.
Yeah, I think so.
She's hired by this mother, Bonnie Dahl.
Right.
Her daughter, Bonnie, has vanished.
Vanished without a trace.
And all that's left behind is this really cryptic note on Bonnie's bike. It says, "I've had enough."
All caps.
All caps, yeah.
It makes you wonder.
It really does.
If it's a genuine goodbye or
is it, is it something more? Is there a hidden message there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is it a clue or is it just what it looks like?
Right. And I think that's what's so brilliant is that King does that to us right from the start.
Yeah.
He makes us question everything. He sets this tone for the whole mystery.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, we have these other missing persons.
Right.
Peter Steinman, who disappears from Deerfield Park.
Yeah, Deerfield Park seems to be a bit of hotspot for missing persons.
Well, that's it, right? There's Carrie Dressler, too, who vanished from his job at the bowling alley.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's like this cluster,
Right. It's like King is creating this map of disappearances.
Yeah.
And they're all centered around Deerfield Park.
And what's so interesting about that is he takes this place that's associated with leisure and safety, a park.
Yeah.
And turns it into this source of fear. And, after the pandemic, I think that sense of unease is even more
amplified, and then Holly uncovers this connection between all these missing people.
Okay.
And it leads back to this elderly couple, Rodney and Emily Harris.
The Harrises, yeah.
Now, on the surface, they seem so harmless.
Yeah, model citizens, right?
Respected academics.
Pillars of the community,
Yeah, but as the story unfolds, King starts to kind of drop these little hints that something's not quite right.
Yeah, little clues here and there.
Remember that part where Emily is seen cleaning out Ellen Klaslow's trailer?
Oh, right, yeah.
After she disappeared?
After she went missing.
And Ellen was another missing person.
That's right.
Who also happened to work as a custodian at the college where the Harrises teach.
Very interesting.
And then there's that scene where Bonnie, while she's held captive in the Harris's basement, she sees Rodney preparing raw liver.
Raw liver. Okay.
That's
not exactly your typical dinner prep, is it?
It's not. It makes you think, what are they really up to? Why raw liver?
It's such a small detail, but King uses it so masterfully.
Oh, yeah.
He creates this sense of dread.
Yes.
Without giving too much away.
Uh-huh.
It's like classic foreshadowing.
And just when you think you're starting to understand the mystery, he throws in another character.
Oh, does he now?
Barbara Robinson.
Okay.
An aspiring poet.
All right.
She seems totally unrelated to everything else going on.
Right. But this is Stephen King we're talking about.
That's right.
He loves to weave together seemingly unrelated narratives.
It's true.
He introduces Barbara, who is studying with this famous poet, Olivia Kingsbury, who just happens to be the Harris's neighbor.
Of course.
So now we have this young artist interacting with these seemingly harmless academics who we know have some secrets working beneath the surface.
It's like he's setting the stage, placing all these pieces carefully to create this really complex web of connections.
Yeah.
And as a reader, you can't help but try to figure out how it's all going to come together.
Of course.
How these seemingly random pieces are going to fit.
Yeah.
But just when you think you might have it figured out...
What happens?
Well, let's just say King throws another curveball.
Oh, he's the master.
He is the master.
And that's what makes him so good at suspense.
Absolutely.
Well, all those little hints, those unsettling details, they lead to a truly shocking reveal.
Yeah.
The Harrises are cannibals.
Oh.
They've been preying on these missing people, convinced that consuming human flesh, offers health benefits, slows down aging.
It's really one of those moments in a King novel where you have to just stop and think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Cannibals, it's so grotesque and horrifying, and yet you can't help but want to know more.
You're like repulsed, but you have to keep reading.
Exactly. And King, being King, doesn't just leave it at that.
Right.
He digs into their motivations.
Okay.
Why are they doing this?
Yeah, how do they rationalize this?
Well, Rodney's obsessed with this idea that brain tissue can cure Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow.
So he becomes like this twisted scientist experimenting with the macabre.
So it's not just about,
survival or something like that. He really thinks that he's onto something.
Yeah, he's found the secret to longevity.
Okay.
And then Emily, she's seeking relief from her chronic pain.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets drawn into this delusion that human flesh holds the key to healing.
So they both have their reasons.
It's fascinating and disturbing at the same time.
Absolutely.
Because they're not these, stereotypical monsters.
Right.
They're complex people who've convinced themselves that their actions are justified.
Well, it makes you think about how evil doesn't always look like what we expect.
Yeah.
It can hide in plain sight.
Like the nice elderly couple next door.
Exactly.
And that brings us back to Bonnie, who is trapped in their basement.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Facing this terrifying reality.
Huh.
And it's not just that she's a prisoner.
Right.
But they're trying to groom her.
Yeah.
To become part of their belief system.
Oh, wow.
Remember that scene where they forced her to eat raw liver?
Oh, yeah. That's so disturbing.
It's just awful. It's like this visceral image that just gets under your skin.
It's not just the physical act of cannibalism, but the psychological manipulation that they're doing to her.
They're trying to break her down.
Yeah.
Completely.
And in these moments of profound darkness, Holly's strength really shines.
She's been through a lot in previous books.
She has.
And we've seen her overcome incredible obstacles.
Right.
And in this one, she's tapping into that reservoir of courage.
That determination to save Bonnie.
Yeah, to bring her back from the brink.
And she tracks them down.
Of course she does.
Confronts them in their own home.
Wow.
Armed with nothing but a gold earring.
Gold earring.
Talk about David and Goliath.
It's incredible.
It really is.
It shows how much she's grown as a character.
Yeah.
She's not that timid woman anymore.
No?
She's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And so she manages to kill Rodney in the struggle.
Okay.
But Emily is consumed by rage.
She wants revenge.
Yes, and she tries to shoot Holly.
So it's like she's been infected by this madness.
Yeah, she's taken on that darkness.
But as we know, fate has other plans.
Okay.
In a moment of, you could say, poetic justice, Emily accidentally shoots and kills herself.
Wow, so she becomes a victim of her own...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a reminder that even in the darkest situations, there's this sense of cosmic balance.
Yeah.
You get what you deserve.
So Bonnie is rescued physically safe.
Okay, good.
But the trauma of her experience, that's going to linger.
Right, of course.
And it's not just Bonnie who's affected by this whole thing.
Yeah, what about Barbara, the aspiring poet? How does her story...
Yeah, how does she connect?
Yeah, it's interesting how her path crosses with the Harrises, seemingly by chance, She had that brief encounter with Rodney shortly before he vanished. And she also recalled Emily's, intense dislike for Jorge Castro.
Oh, right.
Another missing person connected to the college.
Yeah.
So it's she was unknowingly collecting these puzzle pieces, Right.
These little details.
Yeah.
That would ultimately help expose the Harris's true nature.
It's another example of how King just plants these seeds early on.
Oh, absolutely.
Those little clues that seem irrelevant at first.
You see Miranda, right?
But they end up playing a crucial role.
Right, exactly.
And it's he's challenging us as readers to pay attention.
Yes.
To look beyond the surface.
To make those connections.
And to see those hidden connections that bind us all.
And I think it's also interesting how he juxtaposes that darkness with Barbara's,
Right.
passion for poetry.
Yeah.
It's he's saying that even in a world that's, reeling from a pandemic,
right,
where there's all this fear and uncertainty,
yeah,
there's still beauty
yeah,
and resilience to be found.
yeah. And her winning that poetry prize is like a testament to that, the human spirit's ability to find hope and meaning.
It's this little victory.
Yeah.
But it's significant,
Yeah.
It reminds us that even amidst the darkness,
yeah,
there's always this flicker of light.
it's that spark of creativity.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've explored this intricate web of connections.
We have.
The chilling descent into the macabre.
Right.
The resilience of the human spirit.
Mm-hmm.
What stands out to you about Holly as a King fan?
I think what I love about this one is how King blends the everyday with the extraordinary.
Yeah.
He takes these ordinary people,
Yeah.
puts them in these extraordinary circumstances,
Right.
and explores the depths of their humanity.
The good and the bad.
The good, the bad, the ugly, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that line between good and evil can be so blurry.
Uh-huh.
And even those we perceive as harmless can harbor darkness.
And what about Holly's journey in this novel?
Well, we've seen her transform from this woman who was crippled by anxiety, OCD, to this really capable and courageous investigator.
Mm-hmm.
And, she's still fighting her own demons.
Yeah.
But she's learned to use her, her unique way of seeing the world.
Or attention to detail.
To become this force for good.
Yeah. And I think Holly marks like this turning point for her.
Yeah, she's really coming into her own.
Yeah.
Embracing her strength.
Yeah.
Showing us that even in the darkest times, hope can prevail.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Holly, what's the one thing you hope our listener takes away?
Well, I think King, through this really unsettling tale, challenges us to confront the complexities of human nature.
Yeah.
To acknowledge that darkness exists, even in those unexpected places.
Yeah.
But also to recognize the potential for courage and resilience.
Right. And that we all have that within us.
Yes, we do.
It's a reminder to stay vigilant.
Absolutely.
To question our assumptions.
Yeah.
And to never underestimate the power of the human spirit.
Beautifully said.
Well, that's a chilling but hopeful message.
Yeah.
And for those of you listening in, we encourage you to check out the full novel.
Absolutely.
And delve deeper into this unsettling world.
Yeah, see what you discover.
You might be surprised by what you find out not only about the characters,
right,
but also about yourself.
And the world around you.
Yeah. Until next time.
Until next time.
Keep those pages turning.
Keep reading.
And those minds exploring.
Exploring.
The vast landscapes of Stephen King's imagination.
Absolutely.